Hello and welcome to New Junction. Normally I'd start these videos with a train going past or something, but as you can see I've taken up my fiddle yard, so I can't run trains at the moment. What I've done is I've taken up all the track, given it all a clean, sorted it all out, and I'm ready to start laying. What I'm going to be doing with this is working back to front, so I've got the fiddle yard, the new fiddle yard to put in place, which I need to relay first, and then put the back scene in, and then I can work on the station, which will be an attempt at trying to do my take on Newcastle Station. Obviously won't be as complicated, but something very similar. So we shall see how that goes. It's gone from extreme countryside to extremely urban. I've taken the first step and downloaded the printouts from Pico, from the Pico website, which is actually an extremely handy tool, as you can cut them out and then lay them down on the baseboard before you actually have to purchase any more, which well, could save you a lot of money, because points aren't cheap. So first things first, I need to relay the fiddle yard. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest problem I will have is I have 3 running loops which need to go from the scenic side all the way to the back fiddle yard, which is where those mock-up 6 tracks are. In between that space, I have to have the 3 running loops cross over themselves and come into which will be the new scenic area, which will go on to the train station, which is the whiter ply as you're looking at it, which is the area I've reserved for it. What I intend to do, if it's possible, we shall find out, is use double slips, which are the crossovers where the trains can go any which way. Slightly more expensive, or a lot more expensive than normal. However, I think they're going to save me not only space, but also having to cross over the lines 3 times by only having 2 of them. So what I'm going to do is put together a little mock-up with the real deal, and we'll see how that looks. Now, while the track laying for the station isn't the focus of this video, to be able to get to the fiddle yard I have to lay the junction behind the scenes, which will feed the scenic, or the new scenic side. Now, using these double slips, as you can see, the problem I'm going to have, although not perfect, it does give you an indication. Following this rail round, it's going to cut across the back scenic board as it sits there. So that far rail with the curved track is too far out. So at some point on this setup, I'm going to have to put an angle on, because that's just straight through, basically, so it makes the curve. What I propose to do is put a slight curve in my flexi track, just so the angle on the slips is slightly more tailored to this. So then, of course, moving them down, just of course, roughly, of course, but by the time it gets to the scenic side, you're well within where the scenic break will be, which will be towards the back of this board. All things that need to be sorted out. Of course, that all being said, a major problem I used to have was my curves were too tight, and my longer trains would derail. So there's going to be a lot of focus this time around on getting these angles as wide as possible, so that doesn't happen again, particularly over the points. So what I've done is on this outside line I've put a half curve in from Hornby's set track just to give an angle on the first point, which will give an angle to the whole junction. So as you can see, following it round, now the curve, which won't be set in stone, but this is a third radius just so we have an idea, so it has to be at least that, is now no longer touching the back where the scenic break will be. So the rest of the junction can now be based off that one pivot point. So you can see I've got to get the middle line to there and the inside line to the next one there using FlexiTrack, which shouldn't be any trouble at all. What I'm going to do quickly now is just test it. I've just plugged one of these Hornby bits of track in just for easy wiring to save soldering, just to see if I can get it to see if my train's like that angle. So let's see how that goes. That's shown me that the loco is happy with that. I didn't think it would have any problems because it quite literally is a straight run for that one. However, adding that curve this side, you can see it's created a tight spot against the back scenery. So if there was, say for example, the Mark III coaches, they would really get caught on that. So I'm going to have to smooth the angle even further. So you see why it's important to do testing before you pin the track down. And there we are. You can see now the third line comes straight across, crosses the middle, crosses the first, and goes on to the new scenic section. While the other two main lines cross straight through. You see there and there, they will go off to the Fiddle yard. So you've got the three main lines going to the Fiddle yard, and then the two lines crossing through, that being one, and then you've got the inside line which splits off again for the scenic section. So this will allow all sorts of running combos. Looks a bit mental, but once you get your head around the double slip points, it's quite easy. I had to put 2 bits of FlexiTrack in, like I said. Just need to put the sleepers back in the gaps. That's all pinned down. Because there is a slight curve, what I always do when I do my trap pinning, I always put a pin on the second sleeper in after having taken a couple out, and then at every pivot point I'll put a pin in. So there's only one on this one, well there's 2 in the middle on this one, and then of course at the end, second sleeper in, and that just holds it nice and firm, so nothing will move, nothing will derail. Right, the main focus of this video is to take these 3 lines round to the Fiddle yard and split them off, and then all the way down there, and I'll mimic this junction. Right, small montage now, and I'll see you when it's done. as you can see amongst the mess, I'm just come to the end of the first lane of the new behind the scenes fiddle yard, and you see I'm just having to use flexi track to bridge the gap from where the two ends meet. So cut that down, obviously taken the ends off, smoothed it off with the pliers, and now I'm going to put it in place, drill 2 holes and then hammer it in. I've got a feeling that this fiddle yard's going to have a lot of these small niggly bits, but we carry on. So that's that small piece in, and the first loop completed. So what better way to celebrate than connecting a bit of power and getting testing. Right, so I've now completed the second loop on the fiddle yard, and it's literally just big enough for my longest train, which is this class 91, by that much. And I tell you, this project's never been in more jeopardy than seeing if this train would actually fit. Blimey. Length's always been my problem. Right, so it's about midnight as I'm filming now, and I'm going to give up for the night. I've stabbed me fingers in track pins too much. My iPad battery's died, and I've discovered I've got a leak in the ceiling. So it's all this heavy snow we've been having is finally melting. So put that there, the trusty frying pan. Every layout needs one. So this is where you leave me. I'm sure you'll join me in a second when to you it's been done. But right now I'm feeling this project. But right, catch you soon. It's a new day, and it's finished. As you can see, I had to concede a lane. I wanted 6, but due to the uneven nature of my loft, it pinched ever so slightly too much at one end, so I half laid the 6th lane and then had to give up. But I mean, generally speaking, as you can see the line. That's, well, the new bits of wood, leaving the original baseboard now open for scenery. So plenty of room for a big station, which is really handy. Just to show you one of Junction's new junctions, what I've done is I've added some of the old points from the original fiddle yard, which will just go to nothing, to buffers, and I can store DMUs and things in that corner. So it makes quite a nice use of the space. And you can see all the different colours of FlexiTrack which I've used in. Obviously the new scenic board won't start till roughly there, and only sort of this area that way, so none of that will be viewable when you're down low. The other side proved a bit easier to sort out. I think because I've got the tunnels on the scenic side, the other end, the curves start much later, so they seem to flow much better. And of course on the right here I've got the heritage line, which will join up to the new scenic section. But no, otherwise it's all done. It fits my Class 91s, which is exactly what I needed. Next on the agenda is I've got to rewire it all and get it all working properly. That includes the scenic side, because all the wiring was taken out to redo this, really. So I think the next video will be rewiring, and then obviously the back scenes have got to come in. But it's been a bit of a long one, this video. Thank you for sticking with me. I think in all it's probably taken me about 3 weeks to do this, but I can enjoy it now it's done. We'll say that much. But as ever, thank you for watching, and take care.